Okay, welcome back. This is going to be second part of the coffin or the casket. So for this video, we'll be making the high frequency details. Essentially the sculpting bit of it, which is probably the funnest part of this whole thing. But yeah, let's start with the actual body of the coffin. Duplicate. Create a copy of our subtool. Might as well go on the saw here. Right. What we're going to do is use Dynamesh to basically create enough geometry for us to play around with, and it'll all be nice and uniform, which is really cool. Let's keep this lowish just to... Okay, so take blur off. I've gone to about 400 resolution. As you can see, when I click the wireframe mode, it now, we'll see, way more polys is around 185,000 active points count. Right. So, in order to set this up so we have more room for our brushes, let's expand this left panel by clicking the divider. Get rid of this material by material tab by clicking this icon here. Goes to brush on the left, click and drag this into this panel over here, and you see it'll kind of snap in there. This gives us access to all our brushes. Well, what we want is basically the quick pick menu. You can either access it by going to pressing B, or just click on one of these brushes when it's already selected, and you see it kind of appears in here. So what we're going to do is just kind of define the individual planks. So we want, a lot of people like the Damien standard brush, which is a good cutting tool, but I personally think the lines it produces are a bit soft and rounded, so I prefer the /3 brush, which you can get to very easy by clicking S then 3. Let's see, /3, which you get, I'll show you like harder lines. So we're going to decrease our draw size. Let's see. This is the fun bit. This is going to be quite rough, but so basically we need to define the areas where these planks are essentially just resting against one another. So let's take perspective off, make this a little bit easier. Ooh. In order to draw a straight line, make sure your brush is interacting with the mesh, then hold shift, just drag in whatever direction you need it. And there you can see, go back in manually, kind of draw in certain areas. So I could do the same here. Let's just mark this off by like so. And go. So this area here is obviously where these planks would end, so make sure we define that. How will these bottom bits would actually be 3 rather large kind of plank pieces. if you're having trouble keeping a steady hand, a really useful feature in ZBrush would be the lazy mouse. Now it's already activated, but the lazy radius is only set to 1, so it's like real time. There's no kind of drag, what do you call it, delay. Set it up to 16. See that? It's there a little bit, but it also needs to be set. Try to see that red kind of line? That essentially delays the stroke, so you can kind of reorientate your brush. So you can pull back and it's not going to do anything. You can realign it, and it really just helps you draw lines much more accurately. It's an awesome feature, to be honest, and I really wish it was in other applications like Photoshop, for example, could really do something like that. And I always remember to save often. I call the file save as. There you go. So I'm gonna reorientate this so I can kind of draw in that line. See, much easier to get in that kind of that line there. So it just makes it easier to draw straight lines, because the actual stroke is delayed, so it's not interacting with every movement of your kind of hand or wrist or whatnot. So it evens out the stroke basically. But let's go down that stroke. The disadvantage is it's not as. Sometimes you need a snappier reaction. Other times, if you're doing detail work, it's obviously going to be very cumbersome if you're trying to do kind of detail work. But if you're trying to do long, broad strokes, obviously, then it's very, very useful. So let's have these guys end there. I can just hold shift and that'll create a line for you. It allows you to draw straight lines. Good for like when you can just snap the camera to make that a little bit offset so it's not kind of dead on. We will gradually increase the resolution. Okay, let's keep going. Of course, now I need to do the insides. So this is where the can turn the lazy radius back up. Good thing about this, see that red dot there? It's on, like, you see it wiggling around in the bottom there. That kind of shows where I kind of drew my previous line, so I know it needs to be perhaps here. So it doesn't really matter, it's not like you're going to notice, but so just turn the back off. Go and increase that again. go back to like this Iridius, I'll set it back, to like a lower setting, so it's like I said, when you try to do detailed areas it gets a bit fiddly, so you need to like turn it off, go up and down with it, so it's not interfering with what you're trying to do. So you need to do this side. Ooh. It's jumping all over the place. The whole shift, so I could just draw straight across. Actually, let's go a little bit further down on that one. It doesn't really matter if these don't kind of match up perfectly, since you're not really going to notice that if it's running around the level, as long as you know kind of where it's gone, where it is. But now we've got all the individual planks kind of roughed in. Okay, the resolution. It's all to recalculate your dynamesh. Just hold control, click and drag off the model, and that will kind of calculate the geometry. Let's reduce the draw size. Now we can just kind of go in and start defining these areas a little bit more. You can hold your shift key down to kind of smooth areas out, and also alt reverses the direction of your brush, so this is set to Z-add, but obviously it's not adding, it's subtracting. Probably I think it's like the way this brush is set up, it's kind of like opposite. So anyway, let's keep going. You're going to take symmetry off here. Start kind of draw a line. useful to turn off symmetry sometimes, just to break that kind of obvious kind of effect that you get. It's, it's blatantly obvious you've used kind of symmetry. You've seen it in textures in games where they've clearly sculpted in using symmetry. It kind of doesn't look right. But so depending on the style you wanted, I would just hand penning these edges in, with details. But you could, once you get to a sufficient kind of detail level in a subdivision, once our subdivisions are high enough, we could go in with perhaps get a texture of a very gnarly looking wood, start overlaying that. But I'll just kind of do basics here. Start to look a bit like wood, especially if you press Alt and kind of go out, to push it out sometimes. That tends to make it look a little bit like wood. And all that. These are pretty much mud textures, but I'll be showing you how to rip textures from wood. But just to show you on that one, let's go to clay something, go to drag react. I'll spray. Let's go to spray. Go to like this one. Seems pretty generic, but you can see you can kind of just paint it on, so you can see how kind of versatile it is. And drag react is you just drag it out, and all you're doing is dragging out the texture, so you can get bumpy areas. But once I've got these edges kind of defined, I'll show you how to do that in the next bit. But for now, let's just keep going with the /3 brush. Yeah, it's mainly these edges that I want to make them a little bit more defined. Could actually up the resolution even more. We're at about the 1 million mark now, which is usually optimal for kind of your detail areas. When you start to detail a model, usually the 1 million mark is where that starts to become easier. Remember to save often. Yeah, just so these individual planks are defined. kind of smooth them back a little bit. Good thing to show you here is the auto masking. If you go to back face masking, this will stop the brush from interacting with the back end of this. Recalculate. As you can see, it was actually pushing out on the back there. I kind of wish I remembered that. Yes, that's too bad. Yep, let's put the lazy radius back up. As in a way, I don't want it to be perfectly kind of smooth or anything. Always make sure you save often, because ZBrush has a tendency to like crash for whatever reason. Depends what version you're using, I suppose. You can see how my opacity, my pressure sensitivity seems to ramble, because that can sometimes happen. To fix it, all you do is click somewhere outside of ZBrush and come back. As and see, it's working again. It's just one of those little annoying kind of problems. It can happen when you save. It'll just, for whatever reason, the pressure sensitivity just kind of goes out the window. Like I said, just click outside of ZBrush, and it should kind of kick it up the arse a little bit. Let's do some basic kind of lines there. Let's take that lazy radius down a bit. going around defining these little bits in here. Some seeds, kind of looking quite nice. So if you go to light, you can kind of reorientate where the light is going to hit from. So you can get a dynamic looking shadow there. So yeah, it's coming along quite nice. So now I'll take you into Photoshop and show you how to make some kind of gnarly wood brushes, just so you can kind of slap them on there and get this stuff looking like wood. So yeah, see you soon.